You said. The glass doors of First National Bank swung open as 12-year-old Marcus Johnson stepped inside, clutching a small envelope filled with crisp $20 bills. His birthday money from relatives totaled $300, and his mother had taught him the importance of saving. The marble floors echoed with his footsteps as he approached the teller counter, wearing his best khaki pants and button-down shirt. "Excuse me, ma'am," Marcus said politely to the blonde teller behind the window. Sarah Mitchell looked up from her computer screen, her expression immediately shifting from neutral to suspicious as she noticed the young black boy standing before her. "What do you want, kid?" Sarah asked, her tone sharp and dismissive. "I'd like to open a savings account, please." "I have $300 here," Marcus replied, placing the envelope on the counter with a respectful smile. Sarah rolled her eyes and pushed the envelope back toward him without even looking inside. "Listen, little boy, this isn't a toy store. You can't just walk in here with play money and pretend to be a grown-up." "But this is real money," Marcus insisted, opening the envelope to show her the bills. "My grandmother gave me $200 for my birthday, and my uncle gave me $100. I want to save it like my mom taught me." Sarah's laugh was cold and mocking. "Right. And I suppose you're going to tell me you earned this from your lemonade stand. Kids like you don't have this kind of money unless." She let the implication hang in the air. The commotion caught the attention of Jake Stevens, the burly security guard who had been watching from across the lobby. He approached with heavy footsteps, his hand resting on his radio. "Is there a problem here, Sarah?" Jake asked, his eyes fixed on Marcus with obvious suspicion. "This kid is trying to scam us with some story about birthday money," Sarah replied, crossing her arms. "Probably stolen bills if you ask me." Marcus felt his heart racing, but he kept his voice steady and respectful. "Sir, I promise this money is mine. I can call my mom if you need proof." Jake shook his head menacingly. "Save it, kid. I've seen this before. Maybe I should call the police and let them sort this out. They'll want to know where you really got this cash." The raised voices attracted the attention of Tom Bradley, the branch manager, who emerged from his office adjusting his tie. At 45, Tom prided himself on running a tight ship, though his judgment often reflected his own biases rather than facts. "What's all this noise about?" Tom demanded, surveying the scene with Marcus standing calmly while Sarah and Jake flanked him like prosecutors. "This boy claims he has $300 to deposit," Sarah explained with a smirk. "Obviously some kind of scam or worse." Tom barely glanced at the money before nodding in agreement. "Son, you need to leave immediately before this gets out of hand. We don't tolerate fraud here." Marcus straightened his shoulders, his voice remaining respectful but firm. "Sir, I haven't done anything wrong. I'd like to speak with the bank president, please." The request triggered an explosion of laughter from all three adults. Sarah doubled over, Jake chuckled while shaking his head, and Tom wiped his eyes dramatically. "The bank president?" Tom gasped between laughs. "Kid, you're 12 years old. The president doesn't meet with children playing dress-up." "This is ridiculous," Sarah added. "As if Diana Wright would waste her time with this nonsense." Marcus's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes at the mention of the name. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a cell phone, causing Jake to tense up. "I'm going to make one phone call," Marcus announced calmly. "Then we'll see who's wasting whose time." Tom waved dismissively. "Go ahead, call whoever you want." "Your parents?" "Social services." "The police are probably on their way anyway." Marcus dialed a number he knew by heart, stepping slightly away from the hostile group. His voice was quiet but clear as the call connected. "Mom, it's me. I'm at the First National branch on Oak Street, and I need you to come here right now. They won't let me open my account, and they're threatening to call the police." He paused, listening. "Yes, They mentioned your name. I think you should come handle this personally." The three bank employees exchanged glances, still convinced this was some elaborate charade by a desperate child. 15 minutes later, the bank's atmosphere shifted dramatically as the front doors opened with authority. Diana Wright strode through the entrance, her navy blue power suit commanding immediate attention. At 38, she carried herself with the confidence of someone accustomed to boardrooms and billion-dollar decisions. Her heels clicked purposefully across the marble floor as she surveyed the scene. Sarah's face went pale as she recognized the woman she'd only seen in corporate newsletters and annual reports. Tom's swagger evaporated instantly, and Jake stepped backward, suddenly finding the floor very interesting. "Marcus, sweetheart, are you all right?" Diana asked, her voice warm as she approached her son, placing a protective hand on his shoulder. The silence in the bank was deafening. Tom's mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air, while Sarah gripped the counter to steady herself. Jake removed his cap, nervously fidgeting with it. You're his mother," Tom stammered, his voice barely above a whisper. Diana's expression hardened as she faced the three employees. "Yes, Marcus is my son. And from what I understand, you spent the last 20 minutes harassing a 12-year-old boy who simply wanted to open a savings account with his legitimate birthday money." Sarah tried to backtrack desperately. "Mrs. Wright, we had no idea. He never mentioned. I mean, we were just being cautious about security protocols." "Security protocols?" Diana's voice remained calm, but her eyes blazed with controlled fury. "Is it your protocol to assume a black child is lying? To threaten police involvement before asking a single question about verification? To mock a customer's request to speak with management?" Tom stepped forward, sweat beading on his forehead. "There's been a terrible misunderstanding. We were just following standard procedures for minors." "Standard procedures?" Diana interrupted. "Tell me, Mr. Bradley, what are your standard procedures when a white child comes in with birthday money?" The question hung in the air like a sword. None of them could answer because they all knew the truth. A white child would have been helped immediately, probably given a lollipop and praised for being responsible with money. Marcus watched quietly as his mother handled the situation with the same grace and strength she brought to corporate mergers and acquisitions. Diana's voice cut through the uncomfortable silence with surgical precision. "What happened here today wasn't a misunderstanding. It was racial profiling, plain and simple. My son was judged not by his character or his polite request, but by the color of his skin." Tom attempted damage control, his voice shaking. "Mrs. Wright, please, we can resolve this quietly. No need for corporate involvement." "Corporate involvement?" Diana's eyebrows raised. "Mr. Bradley, I am the corporation. And this absolutely requires my involvement." She turned to address all three employees. "Sarah, you're suspended pending a full investigation. Jake, you'll be attending mandatory sensitivity training. Tom, we'll be discussing your future here in my office tomorrow morning." Sarah's face crumpled as the reality hit her. "Please, I need this job. I have bills to pay." "You should have considered that before you decided to humiliate a child," Diana replied firmly. "Actions have consequences." She knelt down to Marcus's eye level, her expression softening. "I'm proud of how you handled yourself today, son. You stayed calm, respectful, and dignified even when others forgot their basic humanity." Marcus smiled, his confidence restored. "You taught me that treating people right isn't just about being nice. It's about doing what's right even when it's hard." Diana stood and addressed the gathering crowd of curious customers and employees. "Effective immediately, this branch will implement new training programs focused on unconscious bias and customer service excellence. Every employee will learn that respect and dignity aren't privileges to be earned, they're rights to be given." She opened Marcus's envelope and counted the bills deliberately. Now, let's get this young man's savings account opened properly. $300 from a responsible 12-year-old who understands the value of money and respect. As they completed the transaction with a different teller, Diana whispered to Marcus, "Remember this day, son. Not for the ugliness you witnessed, but for the strength you showed. Change happens when good people refuse to accept wrong treatment." Marcus nodded, his new bank book in hand. "Thanks, Mom. And thanks for teaching me that standing up for what's right isn't just brave, it's necessary." The bank returned to its normal rhythm, but something fundamental had shifted. Word spread quickly through the building that things were changing, and respect would no longer be optional. Justice had been served, not through anger or revenge, but through accountability, education, and the unwavering belief that every person deserves dignity.